You know the feeling, don't you? That particular brand of low-level hum that starts in your gut and blossoms into full-blown annoyance when someone does that thing. Maybe it's your coworker, Brenda, who always chews her gum like a cow contemplating advanced calculus, mouth agape smacking echoing through the office. Or perhaps it's your best friend, Liam, who consistently arrives 15 minutes late every single time, with a grin and a flimsy excuse that barely qualifies as creative writing. You've probably muttered to yourself, or maybe even to a sympathetic houseplant, "Seriously, why can't people just not?" You've tried ignoring it. You've tried polite hints. You've even fantasized about a tiny soundproof booth for Brenda, or a time turner for Liam. But here's the kicker, the delicious irony that Carl Jung, that wizard of the human psyche, so deftly pointed out: everything that irritates us about others can lead to an understanding of ourselves. It's like discovering that the villain in your favorite mystery novel was actually your own reflection all along, albeit with less dramatic lighting and fewer ominous sound effects. So, let's unpack this psychological little nugget, shall we? Because what if Brenda's rhythmic mastication isn't about her lack of chewing etiquette, but about something within you? What if Liam's chronic tardiness isn't a personal affront, but a mirror showing you something about your own relationship with time, or perhaps your own need for control? It's a wild thought, isn't it? Like finding out your favorite coffee shop's secret ingredient is actually a pinch of existential dread. You might think, hold on a minute, my irritation is perfectly rational. Brenda is annoying, and Liam is late. And yes, objectively, those things might be true. But Jung wasn't talking about the objective truth of their actions. He was talking about the subjective truth of your reaction. He was suggesting that the intensity of your irritation is directly proportional to how much that particular behavior triggers something unresolved, unacknowledged, or even unappreciated within your own inner world. It's like your subconscious mind is a disgruntled usher, pointing emphatically at something in the theatrical production of your life, shouting, "Hey, pay attention to that." Consider the possibility that Brenda's loud chewing, which grates on your nerves like fingernails on a chalkboard, might be highlighting your own unexpressed need for peace and quiet, a deep desire for order that gets disrupted by unexpected noise. Or maybe, just maybe, it's a subtle echo of your own anxieties about being heard, about making noise, about taking up space. Perhaps you've been too quiet, too accommodating, and Brenda, in her noisy obliviousness, is unknowingly poking at that suppressed part of you. And Liam, perpetually sauntering in after the bell, might be stirring up your own anxieties about punctuality, about missing out, about the fear of being left behind. Or, on a more intriguing note, could it be that his easygoing relationship with time, which you find so frustrating, is actually a shadow side of yourself that yearns for more spontaneity, for less rigid adherence to schedules? Maybe you're secretly jealous of his ability to just be. It's a bit like discovering that the monster under your bed was just your own misplaced sock, only a lot more profound. This isn't about blaming yourself for other people's actions, nor is it about excusing their behaviors. Instead, it's about recognizing the powerful diagnostic tool that your own irritation can be. It's a flashlight, albeit a somewhat judgy one, illuminating the dark corners of your own psyche. You might discover that the very qualities you despise in others are qualities you've repressed in yourself, or perhaps even qualities you secretly admire, but deem unacceptable for your own identity. The person who constantly boasts might irritate you because you have a suppressed desire to be recognized, but you've been taught that self-promotion is uncouth. The individual who is fiercely independent and always goes their own way might annoy you because you secretly crave that freedom but feel trapped by obligations. This journey inward, prompted by the smallest, most irritating quirks of others, is less about fixing them and more about understanding and integrating the disparate parts of yourself. It's a psychological detective story, And you, my friend, are both the detective and the prime suspect. As you delve deeper into this intriguing psychological rabbit hole, you'll discover that the irritation isn't about them at all. It's a whisper from your subconscious, highlighting unmet needs, unacknowledged fears, or even hidden strengths within you. It's like your internal GPS, instead of saying, "Turn left," is screaming, "Hey, look at that thing that bugs you, it's important." Think about that constant need for approval you observe in a colleague, the way they constantly seek validation for every minor task. If that particular trait grates on your nerves, could it be that you secretly yearn for more external validation, but perhaps you've been taught that it's a sign of weakness to admit it? Or maybe you've swung to the opposite extreme, refusing to acknowledge your own achievements, and their overt need for praise is a stark, uncomfortable reminder of what you deny yourself. It's a bit like watching someone loudly enjoy a piece of cake you secretly crave, but have told yourself you shouldn't have. The irritation isn't about their enjoyment, it's about your own unfulfilled desire. Or consider the person who seems to revel in chaos, always disorganized, always flying by the seat of their pants. If their lack of structure sends shivers of anxiety down your spine, it might be pointing to an over-reliance on control in your own life. Perhaps you're so meticulously organized that you've stifled your own capacity for spontaneity, for going with the flow. Their messiness, which you find so abhorrent, could be a reflection of a wild, untamed part of yourself that yearns to break free from the shackles of your carefully constructed routines. It's not that their disorganization is inherently good or bad, but that your reaction to it is a valuable clue. It's almost like your inner self is nudging you, saying, "Psst, remember that time you wanted to just drop everything and go on an impromptu road trip? Well, this person is doing it and you're mad about it." What does that tell you? This isn't about judging yourself for these internal reflections. It's about recognizing them as opportunities for immense personal growth. When you feel that familiar prickle of annoyance, instead of letting it fester, you can pause and ask yourself, what is this irritation trying to tell me about myself? Is it about a shadow self, a part of you that you've repressed or denied? Jung was big on shadows, not in a spooky Halloween kind of way, but as aspects of our personality that we deem unacceptable and thus push into our unconscious. If you despise someone's arrogance, could it be because you've been told that self-confidence is boastful, and so you've buried your own healthy self-esteem? Or perhaps it's a wounded inner child, an old hurt or unmet need from your past that's being triggered. If you're constantly annoyed by someone who takes without giving, it might echo a childhood experience where your own needs were overlooked. The process of understanding begins with awareness. Once you're aware that your irritation is a signpost, not just a complaint, you can start to unpack its meaning. You might find that the traits you find most grating in others are actually projections of your own insecurities or unfulfilled desires. It's like you're holding up a projector and beaming your own internal movies onto other people, then getting annoyed at the characters they're playing. It's a trick the mind plays, a shortcut to avoid confronting difficult truths about ourselves. But once you see through the illusion, the real work and the real fun begins. You can start to integrate these disowned parts of yourself. For example, if you realize your irritation with a loud person stems from your own fear of speaking up, you can gently push yourself to voice your opinions more often. If you find someone's over-emotionality annoying, perhaps it's a call for you to allow yourself to feel and express your own emotions more authentically. It's a journey from external blame to internal understanding, a true shift in perspective that allows for profound self-discovery. Finally, you'll learn to reframe these external irritations as valuable clues, recognizing them as opportunities for immense personal growth and ultimately fostering a more compassionate and authentic relationship with both yourself and the world around you. This isn't about becoming a doormat. suddenly finding joy in Brenda's gum chewing or Liam's tardiness. It's about cultivating a deeper self-awareness that allows you to respond rather than simply react. Think of it as upgrading your internal operating system. Instead of crashing every time a minor bug appears, you now have the diagnostic tools to understand why it's happening. When that familiar wave of irritation washes over you, your first instinct won't be to lash out or stew in silent resentment. Instead, it will be to gently inquire, what part of me is this mirroring? Let's go back to Brenda and Liam for a moment. If you've identified that Brenda's loud chewing triggers your need for quiet and order, you now have a choice. You can acknowledge that need within yourself, and perhaps instead of silently fuming, you can take a moment to step away, put on headphones, or find another quiet space. You're not trying to change Brenda. You're managing your internal response by addressing your own needs. And with Liam's lateness, if you've recognized that it pokes at your own anxieties about control or missed opportunities, you can explore ways to loosen your grip on rigid expectations. Maybe you start planning to arrive a little later yourself, or you communicate your expectations clearly up front, or you simply accept that Liam operates on a different temporal plane and adjust your own schedule accordingly. The irritation loses its power over you when you understand its root within yourself. It's like discovering that the monster under your bed was just a pile of clothes, and you now have the power to fold them. This reframing leads to a profound sense of self-compassion. You stop judging yourself for having these annoying reactions, and instead see them as signposts for growth. You begin to understand that your internal landscape is complex, with various facets, some of which you've inadvertently neglected or suppressed. When you approach these ignored parts of yourself with curiosity rather than criticism, you create space for healing and integration. Perhaps you've always prided yourself on being easygoing and non-confrontational, but your deep irritation with a demanding person reveals a suppressed assertiveness within you. Instead of viewing this as a flaw, you can see it as an invitation to learn how to set healthier boundaries. This doesn't mean becoming demanding yourself. It means finding a balanced, authentic way to express your own needs. It's a journey of becoming more whole, more integrated. Ultimately, this process fosters a more authentic relationship, not just with yourself, but with others too. When you stop projecting your own internal struggles onto other people, you can see them more clearly, unclouded by your own judgments and assumptions. You might even find that some of the traits you once despised in others are actually qualities you can learn from. The person who seems too emotional might in fact be deeply empathetic. The individual you perceived as too loud might simply be unburdened by self-consciousness. By understanding your own triggers, you free yourself to interact with the world from a place of genuine connection rather than one of reactivity. You're no longer just seeing their actions, you're seeing your own reflection, and in that reflection, you find the seeds of transformation. The annoying little habits of others become less like thorns and more like guideposts on your path to self-discovery, leading you to a richer, more nuanced understanding of yourself and the beautiful, messy tapestry of humanity. The journey inward, sparked by the seemingly mundane irritations of daily life, ultimately softens the edges of perception. You find yourself less quick to judge, more inclined to observe. The world doesn't change, but your lens upon it does, becoming more nuanced, more forgiving. That restless energy you once directed outward, in frustration at others, now gently turns inward, a quiet whisper of inquiry. There is a sense of peace that settles in, a knowing that every flicker of annoyance holds a hidden lesson, a gentle invitation to deeper understanding. Embrace these moments, for they are the subtle nudges guiding you home to the most profound and compassionate relationship you will ever cultivate, the one you have with yourself.